Ladies and gentlemen, is this on? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the live show recap here at the Players Championship. Solly here, DJ Pie here. Hello, Deej.
Greetings. Hello.
Tron here. Hello, TC.
I'm here, baby.
We are live here. I'm going to turn up my headphones because I can't hear anything. There we go. All right, now we are good. Every player has their own unique. Oh, I didn't introduce Randy. I'm sorry, Randy. I'm nervous. It's on TV. I get anxious when we go live, man. There's a lot going on here. How are you, Big?
I'm great. I'm even better after that new intro. God, I was jamming over here.
That was pretty fire. Cody is running the ones and twos here tonight. Hello, Cody.
Hello.
Every player has their own unique style of play. It's what we love about golf. It also happens to be what we love about bourbon, like Elijah Craig, for example. Every bottle of their award-winning small batch carries a signature warm spice and subtle smoke flavor. I like to drink it on the rocks, as you can see here if you are watching this live or in an old-fashioned at home. You know, I got my smoking gun. I might have to bring that over tomorrow.
Solid has a smoking gun.
Yeah, I might.
Randy likes to drink his neat.
Very neat.
I didn't even.
Extremely neat.
I'm actually really upset. I didn't think about till right now that I should have brought that over tonight. But
Solid's trying to get his own nickname drummed up as the smoking gun.
Many people have been calling me that. John Rout, the Bowie, calls me that all the time. Bourbon's just straight up my go-to. Elijah Craig won double gold at the San Francisco World Spirits competition last year. Goes to show you that hard work and dedication lead to great things. Whether you're watching the players at home or playing a few holes with your buddies, make Elijah Craig your signature sip. Discover the greatness within at ElijahCraig.com/NLU. No Laying Up is brought to you by Elijah Craig, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, Bardstown, Kentucky. 47% alcohol by volume. Elijah Craig reminds you to think wisely and drink wisely. Biggest story of the day. Is it the Golden Man or the Sideburn Bandit?
Well, I think first and foremost, we got Randy out in Denver. Mr. Unlimited's coming to town. Everybody's buzzing out there, right?
The town's a buzz, TC, but I'm not sure if that's the biggest story of the day. I would vote for weather.
Expound.
Well, there was a lot of it.
There's a lot of it.
And you know, it had an effect on the course, and I think Sawgrass playing very gettable here in the evening time after the delay. But it might be this way all weekend. So I'm hopeful that it's, you know, as fair as possible, maybe for the whole field. But
we have an updated forecast for tomorrow.
Every time I refreshed it, it did not look good. Good chance of thunderstorms in the morning.
Have you switched to the weather bug yet? Because you were apoplectic at dinner last night. So, oh my God, it's gonna be a Wednesday finish. They're not gonna play any golf tomorrow. It's gonna be completely rained out. Wasn't he? He was beside himself. I thought he was gonna start crying.
I did cry when I got in the car. Okay, no, you know what the one of the worst Twitters is your weather app sucks. Twitter.
Well, Sorry, I gotta get you on my fishing weather app.
Okay,
it is the most localized. It is to the foot.
Every forecast I looked at from this morning on it nailed it. They got pretty lucky today, actually. There was a whole band that just went south. That if it was, I'm sure like. Just south of St. Augustine got absolutely wrecked today. So I think this was kind of best case scenario for them today. Well, the course actually played pretty decent considering everything. I mean, there wasn't just, puddles of water everywhere. It is officially the Backspin Invitational, or as you call it, the Ripper Magoo Classic. I think it is.
R.I.P. Memory.
Yeah, R.I.P. That was a moment.
No one's ever burned hotter or faster than Memory.
Maybe the true Icarito.
Speaking of burning hot and fast, Harold Varner, by the way, I feel like every time he has like a 7-under round going, he's got a triple bogey just looming there. Only ball in the water, I think, as of the last 30 minutes of the show. I don't know if somebody else hit one in, but Harold Varner's the only ball. He goes in there at 7-under, hits one in the water, makes triple. You want to talk about the rough around 17?
I don't know if we want to get there. Do you want to get there already?
Sure.
I'm saving that for the climax of the show. But Randy, I know you're gonna ride with us here. Just put those preacher hands up if holler if you hear me. It's a complete disgrace. The caller around the greens. Cody and I were just visibly upset. We were walking around this morning, watching a lot of players play 17, and you softened me a little bit. The hill in the middle of the green, I get it. You can only control your spin to a degree.
I get it on 16.
When you're landing into a 45-degree, hill in the middle of that green, I get that it's going to come back. But yeah, man, shave that shit down. Or as I like to float out on Twitter is the Piowski plan. I think a lot of people are calling it would be just to take chunks out of the collar, like either arbitrarily or consistently. I would love to see some mini golf like action going on out there. Is like, is it going to catch a tuft of rough, or is it going to catch a smooth spot and just go right through the gate into the water? And the reason I say that is half joking, but half serious in that, like, what about that fucking golf hole makes you think that, we're talking about like a fair test of golf?
It's
it's
silly.
a complete amusement park. just completely lean into it, man. And I hated seeing some of those balls stay up, because spin control is I think, like, legitimately it's golf wonk stuff, but it's like one of the most interesting parts of the game. You hear Tiger talk about it all the time. Can I control my spin? Can I control my spin? And watching Harold hit those 2 balls in the water, I was like, yo, does he not like know how to do that? Like, what?
And the
what's
balls
going on?
don't
Those
even
were
really
just
spin anymore.
awful.
So these guys are getting crowned anyway. It's to me, it's they could do it kind of like a chicane, have it in certain spots.
That's interesting.
But yeah, like I get it on other holes. I get it on 16 that guys wouldn't go for it.
Totally.
If not,
This is a
Sully, you
purely
said that,
17 outlier.
perhaps guys wouldn't go for it. They might lay up down the left side on
Correct.
17.
Of course.
And then
They lay up to the drop area
Yeah.
and then try to get on from a shorter area
but
if
I
there was
mean,
no
like
rough
the
there.
fact that only one ball went in the water is it's insane.
It is, but it also kind of, my takeaway from
There's
it
no
was
wind.
it speaks to when you have a soft green and no wind, like literally every pro hit the green. And Harold's spun off and went in the water, but just to speak to like skill and how much conditions matter to something, when the wind is blowing this weekend, there will be tons of water balls. Tons.
Friday, we're going to have the wind's going to kick up southwest, gusty winds, 15 to 25. Actually, that's Friday night. It looks like it's going to be pretty calm tomorrow most of the day. And then Saturday, 24-mile-an-hour wind out of the west and 14-mile-an-hour wind out of the northeast on Sunday.
I saw 38-mile-an-hour gusts for Saturday too.
Hell yeah.
Out of the west is what, straight down on 17?
Out of the west would be like in off the left.
Okay.
17 faces northwest.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Big. What was your highlight watching of the day?
Either the Tommy Fleetwood flop shot behind, oh god, I forget what hole.
Tommy was in some weird spots today.
Yeah, that was cool.
Do you trust Fleetwood? Is this sustainable? He's the lead here at 6 under.
Is that rhetorical? No, I mean, no, not really. I don't trust him at all. You know what I was watching a lot of? I was watching a lot of the Cantlay, Rahm, Hovland featured group coverage. Hovland was really playing well, and then like completely gave it back coming in, doubled his 16th hole and bogeyed his 18th hole, which was very surprising. He looked so good and even missed a couple short birdie putts. That was disappointing to me. So, I struggle with like a huge surprise, but I thought Hovland giving back 3 late was probably the most surprising to me.
Can we talk about, they're starting to steer back into it, but Hovland's chipping and short game is still a huge liability. I feel like they raced past, like he had one good week and everyone's like, oh, he had chipping problems and he got it figured out. But like, no, he does not have it figured out straight up. Like he hits a lot of bad chips. The bunker play is horrendous. It's been horrendous for the last 2 weeks, but even when he, like from normal chip shots, it is still pretty bad. It's his only flaw to this point, because he rolls it great, obviously hits it incredible, but he cannot be trusted around the greens.
He just shouldn't be. He can't hit it there. He shouldn't be hitting it there.
Which it seems like, I'm curious what all the rain and conditions are going to do. Like Cody and I, the shot that's going to stick with me today. We weren't out there for a ton of time, but probably saw 4, 5, 6 holes of people playing. Watching Patrick Rogers drive it in the right rough on 14, and like both of us thinking that he hit a shot up on the green, and then quickly realizing that he only advanced it. What would you say, Cody? 9 feet, 10 feet
on a good 10 feet.
It was good 10 feet. Was just like that stuff when it gets wet and soupy and nasty. Like chipping around there is going to be super interesting.
It's going to be an interesting championship, and right now it's probably it's going to be as boring of golf as we're going to see all week.
Which I'm almost like excited about. Just resigning myself and letting go of like, it should be firm. It's like, dude,
can't do it.
It's not going to be firm. Let's just enjoy what we have. It's,
It seems like from the waves, like as far as the splits or the morning late guys, like it seems like it's going to be pretty fair between the two waves. I don't think it's going to change too drastically between tonight and tomorrow morning. Like the guys, like they're going to get a pretty similar experience either way. And then, yeah, it's going to get cold as shit on
Oh my
Saturday
God,
afternoon
dude.
and then into Sunday.
Wind
That's
chills.
what
And Sunday. Go ahead, Rainey.
I was gonna say I can live with today, DJ. I'm with you. You know, have your fun. Stop it close to the hole, but you got to promise me wind and like some biblical stuff this weekend.
I think
Lord willing.
it's going to be a wind chill of 25 on Sunday morning.
Come on.
Like tea times. Yes, wind chill of 25
Chris
God,
Kirk's
you're
going to have to.
taking me back to the Midwestern.
They're not
mornings.
going to let him
Walt
play.
loves
in
the
that.
wind chill more than the Midwesterners.
Chris Kirk's going to have to give his son an extra warm bath.
I'm calling it now. If the wind chill is 25, they're not going to play.
That will
gonna
be
protect
interesting.
These guys.
If it's below, like it's not below freezing temperature yet, you know, the wind chill's that cold, will they send people out?
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have to.
Speaking of protection, there were some drive-bys today on the broadcast. They like, I don't know if they had the mics just absolutely juiced by the water, but every time a ball went in the water,
DJ, drop that shit.
it sounded like a body going into the water.
It was like a Honda. Remember a Honda a couple years ago when everybody, I guess it's a lot of times on 15 when people hit it in right by that microphone. It's the best.
Charlie Hoffman got a drive-by. That was a little revenge shout, if you will. I forget who sent in the tweet in that, you know, asking if the Golden Man has already been talked to. Is he already in conversations with the Saudis? But that was quick.
Randy, I want to know. Sorry, we got to pause the show here. I want to know. I got to know your initial reaction to see the Gold Man on screen. Of course, this is the mixed reality experience that we saw out there.
Is mixed reality and AR? There's two different things.
That's a great question. I feel like I've been.
Where's VR
I
fit
feel
in?
like I've been living a mixed reality for the last like 10, 15 years. The last fucking place I need that is on my golf coverage. But
DJ, to answer your question, you know what I first saw Solly's retweet of that tweet asking if the Golden Man had been in talks with Saudi Arabia, and I was very confused. I swear to God, my first thought was like, did Solly accidentally retweet something? Like, what is this talking about? And then I saw the highlight, the clip of it, and it's just, I mean, what do you say?
I wouldn't be surprised if the tour tries to sell an NFT of it.
That'd be like one thing if it was like brought to you by Optum or the proud partners, like some kind of weird. It wasn't even sponsored. They're just like, we're going to bring you this dude that, by the way, Trevor Emmelman replied and was like, yeah, by the way, terrible swing also.
exactly.
You literally built this thing from scratch and you gave him a terrible swing. It was otherwise a great telecast. Like
Totally, of course. And
Limited-
the players always is.
They had a couple things where before they, like when they were coming back, they played last year's final round a little bit too long. Where like, I want to just go up and down the range. You don't even need an analyst. Just go up and down the range with a camera and show me different swings of guys warming up, how they're warming up, almost like how F1 does, like pit lane before that. Like
That's
on a
interesting.
restart like that, that would be fascinating to see all these guys, how they warm up, what they're doing, like, you know, compare and contrast their swings. And then it seemed like they kind of came out of the gates and had to squeeze in a few totally random, like superfluous graphics that, you know, and stats that it's like, no, just like everybody's on the golf course right now. Just show it to me. And then they did, you know, like they're showing every guy in the field, it seems like.
They always do. They do that every year. They
seems
do.
so
They
unnecessary.
do a lot of the like. And now with that shot, we have now shown every player in the field.
look at us.
Yeah,
Huh?
which is,
Look who
you know,
did it.
And like I get that at the
I
US
get it.
Open or the PGA Championship where you have like club pros
Sure.
and you know qualifiers or whatever, but like these are the top 200 players in the world.
You need to
Right?
see Hayden Buckley out there.
Yeah.
Roger Sloan. That was news to me. That one was definitely news. How about
So last thing on the gold guy.
No, I got way more.
You were talking about the size of his package.
yeah, you got the Norman package.
Well, this is what they always said, right? About the trophy was like, it's a big, they made this whole to do about how it was a big amalgamation. The face was taken from parts of all the faces of past champions.
I
Norman,
remember that.
of course, a record-setting performance at the Players back in the day. Possibly, you know, that's where his contribution to the Gold Man went. I don't
Like
know.
Greg.
Like Greg.
Norman did not win the Players Championship. He won the Administrators Championship.
Of course. What's really tough is I feel like on this here podcast we've been just like doing nothing but supporting the tour over the last 2 months. about like, hey, I don't know where these players think like all this money's coming from. There's no extra money. They're distributing it all to the players. And then you see that, it's like, fuck, man, come on. You're making us look kind of stupid. I don't know where you found the money for that, but like you should just put that in the purse.
They
like,
might be trying to create the $20 billion of NFTs.
It's possible.
Phil
I was gonna say,
accuses them of.
If they've got
very
20 billion, you can pay whatever they paid to have the stupid golden man made. But
I would like to think the gold man came out of the volunteers payment. I think that would be a worthwhile use of
until
that
you're
money
told
we collected.
otherwise,
The gold man
Exactly.
lives. He lives in the moat at the global home.
Surfaces once a year.
And he just walks over to the 17th tee from his house, from his home under the moat.
Is Tom Hoagie like one of the best golfers in the world?
he's a very nice player. I mean, I don't have a ton to.
I think that says it all, Deej.
We could be looking at,
Exactly.
if he wins, he moves to number 1 in the FedEx Cup. He's currently 3rd right now.
That
was news to me as well.
It's one of the biggest stories in golf right now.
Yeah, we got Fleetwood and Hoagie. It's -6, and then you got Kramer Hickok.
What I will say about Hoagie, Cody, I know you can back me up here too. TCU Nation was out there this morning. Like he's just getting loud cheers, guys dressed in all purple. I mean,
keeps the perp by the pound.
That's what a lot of people are saying out there. That the Hoagie fans are in charge out there.
What else did you see out there on site?
I was
You said something really insightful earlier. I would just want you to share.
Well,
that.
I was going to allude to that. One massive takeaway. I was watching the Rom Cantlay Hovland group a bunch, and I mean those guys are just really good. And you
Expand
heard
on
that. You heard that here first, but the
because Randy needs a lesson. In
I
some
know
of this.
exactly. Randy, I can confirm Rom's super good. I
Oh,
know you hear
I
that,
bet I mean, mark him down for a T7 right now.
no, we were doing Cody and I were doing a hit with massive friend of the program, Lou Turner here, First Coast News,
LT,
who was asking kind of like, hey, what's the big takeaway? And we were talking about downstairs and whether it's COVID, whether it's just, I mean, obviously I don't like work for the PGA Tour and travel to a bunch of events anymore. So I don't actually see live professional golf all that much. And it just gets so flattened when you watch as much as we watch on TV. And just like, honestly, man, I know how stupid and pointless this is, but like just seeing it in person occasionally is like, God, these guys are so much better than like even I'm giving them credit for week to week on the podcast. It's like
it puts into perspective the shot to 15 feet, like how good that looks from the fairway. Like,
Exactly.
oh my God, dude, like that on TV. It's like, man, you're kind of cheating left a little bit on that one. And you see it in person, like, no, that was like a perfect golf shot.
like watching the one that stuck out to me was watching 15. And listen, I know the greens are soft. I know it's early in the morning. I know there's no wind, all that stuff. But knowing how much I've struggled on 15, seeing, now how much Cody and Ben have struggled on 15, seeing how much other people have struggled on 15, it's the pin is like kind of front right. There's a little like kind of hummock bunker there right in the front right of the green. Then there's a tiny shelf and then it all completely falls away. And Rom and Hovland both just step up and like hit it to 8 feet on the perfect shelf and they both missed the putts. And that's where it's just like, no, that never would have shown up to me on the scorecard of just looking like, oh, he parred 15. Could have got that one maybe. And it's just actually settling in and looking at how good, their kind of forgettable shots are is a good reminder that I probably haven't done enough over the last couple of years. So
on the flip
great
side,
to see
though, I will say, like, Rory's terrible.
Would you like to expound on that?
We watched him play one hole today.
That's all you need to see.
Enough said.
And that was, I mean, like he
309 carry.
Long left. It was the Icarito miss. Long left on one. Weird spot to chip from. Misses
Such
the
a comfy
putt.
five.
Yeah.
It's
Sometimes that's the best way to start the round, TC.
that's actually true. Probably didn't make dinner taste any better though, Randy, if I may
Got
say.
that right.
I'm
That's
curious
true.
to see how the guys, I think enough guys, like there's probably 25 guys that haven't even teed off yet, but the guys that have gone out or the guys that just started their rounds, see how they kind of adjust a little bit in the morning. And because it seemed like a lot of guys were like, they're going to have to add 2, 3, 4 yards to their numbers to account for the spin. It seems like, and it seems like as the day's gone along, guys have gotten a little bit better at that into 17, for instance. And I bet it gets even better tomorrow. Like the proximity to the hole will be closer tomorrow morning than I think it
They
was
need
today.
to dust off some of the Justine Reed conspiracies. Just jam every pin about 2 feet from the back edge tomorrow.
Well, I want to see
Hey,
like
how
from-
much can you control your spin?
The pin on 17 was like that was tough to get
For
it back
sure.
there and keep it back there.
I want to see some like
You
8
need to-
irons from 130, like
Exactly.
instead of a pitching
Exactly.
wedge, like hit.
Yes.
I heard Mav Neely stuffed one to the back pin there on 17, and he's walking back to the bag, and he goes to the spotter. I could be wrong on this, but it very, very much looked like he said to the spotter, like that was 8. And I think it's a 146 shot.
Yeah.
He probably hits 8 iron 169 yards.
Although according to Azinger, that he probably hits his 8 iron 135, 140.
Because Hovland hit a 9 iron from 162, and Zinger's like, oh, he's gonna have to smash this one to get it back there. It's like, dude, my carry is 160 with a 9 iron. How is this astonishing to you?
Will you apologize for how good Lantos shot into 17 was?
No, because he
missed the putt.
rinsed it on 18 and he missed the putt. And then talking about Mav, I mean, Mav missed
Tough tee
That
shot
was
from
tough.
Bav.
it. Like it was almost like he was trying to go over where Bryson
I
was
was
going
gonna
to
say,
last
might have
year.
been trying to take the
There were
break
some
line.
bad tee shots on 18 today. Sergio took it out over the water, tried to hit a cut, splashed. Adam Scott in the same group splashed it twice. I don't know how many balls went in the water on 18 today, but god damn, that's an uncomfy hole.
Ball flying far because it's so humid out.
It's
That could be
extreme.
it.
It's flying an extra yard because of the humidity.
Massive validation in the film room from Every riding for the move the tee back and to the left.
Oh, of course.
Which would be great.
Yeah, up on top of the
They
hill
should
would be
secretly do that on 18 or on Sunday.
The fact that they haven't done that yet is crazy to me. Also, go watch the film room. It's a 2-parter that we put up today, right?
Yesterday,
Wednesday.
which I want to
Yesterday,
ask Cody
yeah.
about. It looks like you're getting ready to do an ad read though.
I am. I would love to do that
Go
if we
ahead.
can. I want to check in with our friends at Cash App. Cash App, the easiest way to send, spend, and save your money. I want people in the comments that are there right now. If you got a cash tag, send it in there right now. I'm not going to promise that we're going to give some cash away, but we just might. I got to verify with Cash App first.
So I was going to send you a bunch of payment requests.
Or send me some I'm going to send a Bitcoin request for you. You can send or request money from friends and family when they owe you money for dinner. You can invest in any stock or buy Bitcoin with just $1. You can settle your golf bets in Bitcoin if you want to. A little up and down week for us, but we're back on track. Comes with a debit card. You can customize it. Cash App's going to laser print it for you and mail it to you. Comes with free discounts on places you love called Boost. So you can use referral code No Laying Up when you sign up. It gives you $15 free, and Cash App will set aside $10 for each sign up to Youth on Course. So the more people using code No Laying Up when registering, not only are you getting a free $15, but you are helping support junior golf with a $10 donation. All you gotta do is sign up. How great of a deal is that? Come on.
That's
great.
like that's
Get
like
Cash App.
3 coffees for you. Three trips to the coffee store, maybe 4.
That's honestly maybe a better way to sell it.
Yeah.
3 free coffees. If you
Yeah.
download it.
There you
It's great.
go.
Yeah.
Put it in Bitcoin and then
a kid gets to play free round of golf.
how about
Changing
that?
lives. Randy, I know you don't like that. I know you don't like growing the game, but
I
ultimately, as a company, we have to support it.
I know I was looped out of these conversations. I would like to speak to Cash App about perhaps funneling this money elsewhere.
As our CFO, it must pain you to know that we're having these discussions behind your back.
Any
I
more
know.
word on the rules incident with P?
Yeah, it was all alleged. I know that some of the Capital J guys are gonna ask about it here in the post game. But yeah, I got word from a source that was embedded with the group. I used that. No pun intended.
He's in there sticking his fingers
you might-
in everything.
You mind if I
feeling
stick my
around.
finger in there?
I think I'm not sure if it was having to do with his drop on 4, which looked suspect at best. He missed over to the right of the hazard and then somehow dropped in the fairway. But I guess Webb Simpson and Finau
On 4, he dropped in the fairway?
or he dropped like way over.
He dropped way over to the
to
right.
the right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Shout
Yeah.
out
Sorry.
shout out to Cody for putting up P's reaction to TC's entire diatribe.
So
here.
anyway, Webb Simpson says to Finau on 5 green, he says, "Hey man, did you see that back there?" And Finau was like, "Yeah, I did." And then Webb was like, "Should we ask him about it?" And so
That's all we know.
That's all we know. But
So-
hey, let's see something, say something, right?
Sure.
It may be
We're
out
trying
by
to
the time.
protect the field.
By the time you listen to this, the information may be out
And then
there. but
and then P flicked his ball off on.
I
Which
think
is
it was
cla-
towards the hole.
which is the classic one. If any other player did that, we'd wildly celebrate it, and I want to be consistent on that.
How about
I'm
the
pro flipping off the
I
ball.
will say-
I've never
though-
seen the 7-second dump visually.
Yeah,
They
that
tried to
was exciting.
blur out the middle finger. Do you have that one, Cody? It's okay if you do not.
Well, and then P, total heat check on him with the weather delay. I mean, I thought
I
that was
know.
total bullshit.
I thought it was until I realized he was in the shit over there. He got to mark the ball, and then he gets to go pick it up and then go place it. And I'm sure, and he hits it right up towards the front of the green out of what looked like a horrific place. Of course, this is all legend. This is not if you're watching this live on screen, this is not anything we did. This is what happened to the Golf Channel screen from this image of him flicking him off straight into it. They tried to visually dump it. I've never seen that
They
one before.
dumped his ass.
Never.
TC, people are dying to know if there are any back channel communications between you and Lady J.
No, I've offered. I've thrown out a couple wine bars to go to. I know she's a big Shard fan. I've got a couple.
Who's got the best Shard in town?
Really nice bottles of Shard. Probably down in Ponte Vedra, because that's like all the old people down there. Drink like the
Shard Nation.
Buttery ass California Shard, the oaky shit with the malolactic fermentation. No, but I would offer up, Royal Palms would probably be a good place.
Oh, of course.
I'm willing to go down to Nona Blue if she'd like. I'm willing to go to, a variety. I'll even bring her to my club.
Keep following up on that.
We need some diplomatic back channels.
Yeah.
Cody, can I tap you in for a second?
Yes, sir.
I'm curious. So, Tron, you mentioned we put a film room up this week of Cody and Ben playing TPC Sawgrass for the first time. How are you feeling now that you've played it? Now that you've walked it? Now that you've watched literally the best players in the world play it? What was your takeaway today?
Very impressive, because it's not the best course in the world to try to play for the first time on camera. Very difficult,
especially when you haven't played on camera a whole lot.
What they showed me is like, hey, if you hit the fairway, you're first of all, step one complete.
How many fairways did you hit? Like
probably
2?
I think that's on the high side. But it's amazing. I mean, they have complete control of their golf ball, and they know where it's going, know where to miss, and when they get in trouble, they can scramble from anywhere. It's nuts. They don't compound mistakes.
Yeah.
What did Ben say about you?
He called me like, oh
no, he said your golf game would be great
whoa.
He's like, what I would want as an aging man. He didn't straight call you an aging man. He didn't call you an aging man, yet I could see how you would take it that way.
But that's also like the genesis of one of Randy's greatest takes of all time, when Neil was pontificating about a very similar thing. Just like, I can't wait, man, just to get older. I'm going to get really cagey. I'm going to really scale it back. I'm going to find fairways. And Randy was like, well, you could do that now if you wanted to. And like, you're just not ever going to do that.
You're not going to do that.
And I feel that way about Ben a little bit.
I would say I got a lot of messages, from people around that are like, well, what would a blah, blah, blah shoot at TPC Sawgrass? And it's like, honestly, one of the courses with one of the widest ranges I would pitch, because like if you're off, if you're a scratch player and you're off 84, I think, sorry, Cody, you can attest to that.
Thank you.
You can attest to that.
Cody said he would be happy to shoot 76 in the pregame.
Exactly.
Interview.
Which is like literally like a play a little bit better, and you would have shot 76.
But that's the thing, is just like give Cody,
wait, one more time. Now 84. I see it's the worst golf course in the world to try to pick like a target line off of. And that's not, I had an amazing caddy, and we'll maybe get to that part, but it's not his fault, people.
But that's the thing. If he has the driver going and he has a little better like sight lines, and he hits 8 fairways instead of 2 fairways, like it legitimately saves him 6, 7, 8 shots.
And you have to go around it to like really, like somebody can tell you, hey, hit it here because this is bad, but like you have to go walk up there and see it and then look back and be like, oh my God, there's so much space up here. Like if you're playing it for the first time, it looks so intimidating. I posted that picture earlier in the week from 15T, and it was going kind of nuts. Everyone's like, oh my God, where do you even aim? It's like, well, it looks a little easier in person also, but it's all visual. Like that's the whole thing.
Which was also the good part about, again, we're keep pumping this film room, but that's the other good part about watching with Matt Every, who's played the golf tournament a bunch of times, where it's like, oh, 15's not hard. Oh, that shot Ben just hit. Yeah, it's not hard. And like,
he's also a fader.
They just like see it extremely differently because all this visual, a
like,
lot of the visual intimidation that works on, 10 handicaps just doesn't work.
The bunker that's 160 yards off the tee that cuts across on 7, for instance, or on 11 that, is not even in play, but it just fucks with your eye.
Yeah. Like the beginnings of the fairways are kind of narrow and raised a little bit to make the whole fairway look either partly just like, hide some of the fairway and to make it look way more narrow than it actually is.
We're not ready to disclose yet, but we were shooting some content last week with some extremely, extremely good players. And one of them after the round was like, had played really well, but had hit in the water on 2. And they were kind of telling like all the other players like, oh yeah, I hit it in the water on 2 and made double. All the other players just like, oh, there's water on 2. Like, yeah, I didn't even see that. And that's a bit like how these guys seem to attack the golf course.
Hey, Big, how'd you do your first time around TPC?
I've never played my own ball around TPC.
Which is that's a sore subject for him. He's played in some scrambles or some.
I had to play a scramble. Yeah.
You might wrong day, big. You might not break 100. No offense.
Oh,
I would say the same thing about myself.
None taken. You know what? Honestly, the whole discussion reminded me a little bit of TC, and it sounds like maybe that and the Charleston Muni are like the two places where good luck.
Very similar, super similar test.
Yeah. Charleston Muni's so hard.
We buried a very important story from today that we haven't talked about yet.
Oh, Finau sucks.
We'll get to Finau. I will address Finau sucking. Okay, which you guys are going to have to clarify a couple things on that point as well. But Will Zalatoris' made putt, the 4-footer that
it was the Kawa putt.
I said this on Twitter. It looked like he was signing his name with his putter.
That's the perfect description.
He was doing Zora.
It was. It is very much like before you hit that putt. As soon as they flashed him, it was like a. Here we go. It is one of the most exhilarating things in golf is cutting to Zalatoris, getting ready to hit a 4-footer.
He's hitting absolute bombs off the tee.
They showed a front view of his swing or like a 45-degree angle, and you get way more respect for the power he generates than you do down the line for how much he uses his body and like how much he leans and hits up on the ball. I'd never seen that angle of his swing.
I was just going to say, I of course totally agree on how captivating it is to actually cut to him and watch it, because we keep saying this, like Sunday has the potential to be a complete all-timer, and dude, Zalatoris in one of those last groups with
14.
We got some live music being pumped in here. So we'll cut this source.
We'll cut away with it. I was just talking about how much of an all-time day Sunday could be, and throw Zalatoris in one of those last groups with $3.6 million on the line, coming down to 16, 17, 18, trying to make some 3-4 footers on spiked up greens. Like, would watch.
He's after legacy, not leverage.
But he's so freed up on 12-footers. Like his stroke looks perfect on 12-footers. And
he buried like a 15-footer right after that putt.
It might be like
so good.
A Chuck Knobloch needs to move to third base kind of thing here.
He could legitimately I think
he chipped one in too, which could be a new strategy.
Zinger was asking. He's like, what happens when these guys that are using the claw or the both hands next to each other grip, like those grips, like what's the next step? And I'm like, you start putting left-handed, straight up. Like
that's what your friend Hank used to say.
My friend Hank, exactly. This all goes back to my friend Hank.
Are you still using the cream?
The
voodoo cream. I have used it.
Can we not do free ads for Hank Haney's pain cream here, please?
Hank had some good thoughts on putting.
I've seen Randy excited a lot of times when Hank Haney gave him a couple free tubes of voodoo cream. I don't know that I've seen him much happier than that. That was pretty high up there on the list.
The guy used to coach Tiger Woods.
I know.
Dude, you remember when we used to call into his show?
Oh yeah, we'd be in like the Chick-fil-A drive-in. They gave us like a special VIP call-in line. They're like, oh yeah, just call this. Producer put you right on the air.
Guys, I don't know if
Randy would call in. It was great.
I don't know if we should say much more. We might get canceled because we're so close to him.
Well, that was before, listen, we just didn't know. We didn't know all that new stuff came to light.
This was all pre 9/11 too.
Exactly.
This was a different world.
This was post popsicle though.
Exactly. Post popsicle. Speaking of popsicles, do we want to talk about the cat in the Hall of Fame?
Can we talk about the Sideburn Bandit first?
I mean, listen, I think that's a pop culture thing. 90s are back, man. Sideburns are out.
I mean, who has gotten hit up by
everybody?
So, allegedly, there's a barber in the locker room there that is carving people up in there. It looks like Hovland got, Max got, JT. I want everybody to keep an eye out for anyone else that looks like just got absolutely carved up right on the sideburn. So
that's the whole thing, right? There's a barber chair in there, and
course.
They have a barber. It's like a colonial too, right?
The barber chair is actually a great story. I think it's the chair that moved from TPC or from Sawgrass Country Club the year that they had the total blow up at the Players. The horrendous day. The scoring average was like 79 or something. JC Sneed lost his hat and it rolled down the fairway and hit his ball in the green and got a 1-shot penalty. And players would come in after the round and sit in the chair and like tell the tale of the story.
It was like having the conch shell. Like you would sit down in the barber chair and everybody would Now we're focused on this guy. It's great.
I mean, if things are too easy tomorrow and then the forecast gets easy for Saturday, like they might need to move the third round over to Sawgrass Country Club.
That's an interesting thought.
I think they're going to put the pin in that, the Flower Island in the middle of 17. That's where they're going to put the pin on Sunday. If they're starting to threaten like 20 under, they're not going to let that happen. You want to talk about the cat or
let's go down the leaderboard a little bit first, because I think we got to tie a bow on this. We've got Hickok, Neiman, Mitch, and Honor Bond at all shot 67. They're all 5 under. Waco continues to play great golf.
Sam Burns getting a little podcast bump potentially.
Yeah, 68 for him.
Abe Answer,
68 for
spoiler alert. Maybe a little podcast bump coming up.
Taylor Pendrith, rookie, first players appearance there. He's 4 under through 16. We mentioned Varner. We got a group: Varner, Zalatoris, Oosthuizen, Cam Smith.
I didn't see Varner bogeyed 18 too. Tough.
The Bowie, Rom, Vegas at -3 after the MLB work stoppage.
What did he say?
That news broke right as the horn blew to restart the round.
I think we have a comment from the Schlong, Adam Long, as well on the work stoppage, which is, quote, "Enough is enough."
He back channeled with this guy Manfred and got him back to work.
Let's get back to work, boys.
After we threatened him with a suspension,
exactly.
As long as the players are locked out, he needs to,
I agree.
to stand by it. So
you want to talk fee now, Randy? I'm ready for this conversation.
Well, I don't need to talk fee now. I'm curious if you're.
I think it would be classless for us to say anything untoward.
I mean, I'm willing to have the conversation. He's not playing good. Yeah, he's not playing good. I thought you were bringing up that we made a bet and that you were going to pay it off. That's what I thought you were going to bring up.
Well, we were going to. We got hit with the Sideburns Bandit.
Okay.
Yeah, we were trying to grow them out this week, and they disappeared.
So that's I assume that's why you had it on the agenda. But if that's not the case, then we can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Oh no, I just didn't know if he's still a good golfer or not.
That is actually to be decided because I don't know that.
Are you getting nervous?
It's 152nd in the FedEx Cup right now.
Which there's a lot of Dustin's 189 in the FedEx Cup.
Listen, man, you are what your FedEx Cup.
Thank you, TC.
You are.
Thank you.
Are you getting nervous about the bet?
No.
Dipping your chin in the
I'm never nervous about having to pay that off.
What was the bet? I forget.
If he wins, then you and I need to do the harshest we can possibly do. Just chin only goatee for the NIT, and if he doesn't win, Solly has to do it.
That's like shit that I would do just for fun anyway.
Well, I'm not nervous about ever having to pay it off because they don't pay off their facial hair bets.
Oh, we'll do it.
I paid off a bet this week.
What do we owe you? Mutton chops?
Mutton chops. Faudo mutton chops.
How I can't grow those. So I'm not sure.
That attitude.
I'm not sure how to pay it off.
You can grow some. You can make an effort. At least I would like to see an effort.
We'll get it on the calendar.
Guys, Finau's tied with Brian Gay right now.
It's not good. Not a great golf course for him, but he's not been playing good golf outside of this. I am concerned officially.
He is beating Adam Scott, though.
What does that mean? Not a great golf course.
Yeah, thank you, DJ. I was gonna
golf course
that tests just
it's not
equally all levels of all skills in the game.
It's not like where I would pick him to click. He's not like his skills are not standing out on this golf course. Like Morikawa, we're amped to watch play this golf course this week. We're not like, oh, this should fit Finau really well. Like Phoenix, yeah, I would think so, but not this golf course.
Okay,
so
not a real golf course.
Out of the guys that just teed off, Morikawa was sitting at 5 feet away on number 3 for Bird. He birdied 2.
Comfy par there.
Max is bogey.
You don't say
bogey free through 2 as well.
He's coming.
So it's gonna be a fun morning. What time are they going back out?
7:15.
Really?
We'll see. We'll see about that.
That's interesting.
Glossing over
6:45 today.
They're gonna get some rain overnight. They're not done with weather.
DJ and Kepta are both 2 under through 3.
And then Thomas Peters is coming out guns blazing too. He's I think he's 3 under through 4 or something.
He gave one back. He's 2 over through 6.
Okay.
You guys want to talk Hall of Fame, Monahan presser? What do you want to go first with?
Let's do a little Hall of Fame. I guess I'll preface with 2 things. One, I greatly enjoyed the Cat's speech, and it was really, really cool to see him get a little emotional and talk about his childhood. I don't think anybody can really get enough of that. And two, it's just deeply fucking so bizarro Twilight Zone to me that the best player in the history of the game goes in the Hall of Fame and like nobody seems to really care at all.
Because it's so premature. He's 45 and like I don't know. It's just
I think says a lot. I think it says a lot about like the state of the Hall of Fame and how much people actually care about it and whether the PJ Tour should be in charge of the Hall of Fame or not. And just brings up a whole litany of weird questions that just.
I mean,
I think
are we in the nest?
Of course,
always.
I don't think anybody's listening.
Hall of Fames are kind of stupid. Like, does any Hall of Fame make you excited?
I mean, I think baseball or NFL, at least there's, you debate who goes in and who doesn't go in. And I think it's cool that Marion Hollins finally went in. And but then they talked about her role in the 16th hole at Cypress more than they talked about her playing career or, the development of Pasatiempo or any of that. But
she was a friggin' pioneer. She didn't just discover that hole.
Right, yeah, exactly. But I think it just seems so hollow because everything with the Golf Hall of Fame seems so artificial, right? Where like Cooperstown or Canton, those places seems legitimate, right?
I'm not being facetious. I'm not trying to set you guys up for an answer, but have you ever actually gone through it and like done a full day?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The first couple times I went, like working for the tour, I used to get very geeked, and Randy, you can make fun of me if you want. I used to get very geeked about like, oh man, I got a free pass to the Hall of Fame. I'm going to go check this out. And there's some legitimately like really, really cool stuff in it. The problem is it just like, it seems
the most depressing place in the world.
Yeah. It just seems like such an afterthought from a like geographic perspective, and where it is not like, it's not like you're driving somewhere cool. It's not like you're making a road trip to like some amazing place that has some, story place in the game. And B, like the exhibits just last for, their featured exhibit that's supposed to rotate ended up lasting for, I think that Bob Hope thing was in there for like 9 years, something like that.
It's because like the USGA doesn't want to share stuff and they don't really give
and that's the weirdness is like in golf, you don't in baseball, it's like, of course, Major League Baseball is going to run the Hall of Fame. In football, of course, it's obvious who's going to run the Hall of Fame. In golf, it's like, well, should the USGA run it
for those
exactly?
Leagues.
But it's like, should the USGA run it? Should the PGA Tour run it? Should Augusta National run it? Should the RNA run it? Should the PGA of America run it? Should an independent body run it? All this, like, there's just so much weird.
Should the DP World Tour run it?
Competition? All these country clubs, they all have their own little archive room. They all have like, it's just there's just so many competing interests that it's really hard to do anything like impactful or comprehensive, right?
Can we say
somebody in the comments is saying there is a Buc-ee's nearby,
which is great, and I should stop by next time I'm there, get some brisket tacos, maybe some caramel corn, things like that.
Things of that nature. I got a question for you.
Wait, real quick. I just want to say, I think Stephen A. Smith put this perfectly. We don't care. we don't care. We don't care. Okay, that's the energy I have.
But that bums me out because golf, and again, Randy, feel free. You could make. I'm serving myself up here. Golf, along with baseball, should be like just lean in on complete cheese dick history.
It's
nostalgia.
It's historically,
all of those things should be such an alley-oop for golf. And it's just the fact that they turn it into this like depressing, empty, vacant, like reverse mortgage, empty like commercial real estate vibe is so shitty.
That's the problem right there is, and that's why I think it's ironic that Fincham went in this one with Tiger, which is likely the last induction class. I guess they'll do one next year as well, like in the current location, but they've been there 25 years. Their lease just ended or ends next year, the bonds. And, but like the fact that fit, like that to me is Fincham's legacy. That tells you all you need to know about the guy. His speech was fucking terrible, by the way. Like the fact that he tried to make the Hall of Fame into this craven, like a greedy real estate play, right? Like which it's right off of I-95 in the middle of nowhere down in St. Augustine, and it just doesn't make any sense.
It just feels like 1994 in real life. Just like we're gonna absolutely just milk this thing for all it's worth.
Yeah, and like God, that hotel down there is like the most depressing thing in the world, and
it's like a WGC in real life.
Yeah, it's like a WGC personified, right? And
WGC came to life as a commercial real estate.
Like it should be called TPC Tim Fincham. but like the fact that that's what it's grounded in,
I also
inherently speaks to like what they were after with it, what their motivations were for it, instead of just it being about the game of golf. It's like, no, it's a way for the PGA Tour to flex on everybody else and make a little bit of money in the process.
I would push back on like that's his legacy, because I don't think anybody cares about it. Like that's kind of the whole point. It's like nobody thinks about it at all. So I think like raising purses,
it's like
9,000% is probably going to be his legacy.
Like the WGCs and the Hall of Fame are essentially his two legacies, in my opinion, because he had Tiger Woods, man. Like, and he, you know, like, yeah, he steered the ship and he put people in body bags. You know, but like I don't know. I just like I just never have gotten any sense of just substance from him on anything. It's never like he's not evocative of anything having to do with golf. It's just about money and being a businessman.
Yeah.
Question for you. Would you rather have the Hall of Fame entry be like up to writers or, you know, a nebulous vote, or would you rather do it, take a page out of the LPGA book to where there's extremely black and white point system where we know we can track all the players in real time as they reach a Hall of Fame standard? I don't know which would be more fun as a PGA Tour fan.
Let me just make my stance clear. We don't care. We don't. We don't care. We don't.
I would answer your question with a question, which is your power out?
Yeah. Why do you need lights on?
And number two,
the sun's setting.
But like, I hate to keep like being pessimistic about this, but I think what's so telling about this entire thing is the fact that like we don't even debate like who goes in and who doesn't, because nobody like gives a shit. You know,
but that's like, what I'm saying. Would a point system be more like interesting?
I don't think it's that. I think it starts with like the physical location, and I think moving it, if it had a place in Pinehurst, which I of course like I know it used to be, or in St. Andrews, if it was like a place that people were very much like, oh my God, that is a reverential thing, I can't believe like that's such a massive deal, then I think all the other stuff follows. Then like you start to care about who gets in and you start to care about the minutia of qualification and all that stuff. But right now it's just like I literally was looking at the YouTube channel just trying to watch the speeches yesterday, and I saw that like Davis Love III was giving a speech. I was like, oh, I don't know, is he in the Hall of Fame? Like, oh cool, maybe he was being inducted, or maybe he's already in, or I don't even really know, because like who cares? And that's such a bummer when literally like I don't want to take it like too seriously, but like when Tiger fucking Woods is going in and like nobody cares, I'm like, God, what a waste. That seems like such a massive bummer.
So right now,
it's
who
hard.
chooses?
I would say right now, I think it's hard because golfers' careers just go so long
Totally.
that there's not like a good time to do it, and like it almost feels premature almost always when somebody goes in. Like Tiger going in, it's like, well, gosh, I hope we're not done.
I mean,
and that's
50
where
feels like a relatively clean spot. I mean, even Tiger alluded to it in his speech. He's like, you know, I want to thank, Jay Monahan or Fincham or whoever for bumping it up from 50 to 45. Like who chooses?
They changed it. I don't remember exactly, but it used to be like I think it used to be a panel of writers, and now it's turned into more of like a industry executive type panel that maybe contains one or two writers on it. But
good question that just came in from Eric Thielen. Will Scheffler get inducted when he hits the eligibility age next year?
I hope people are into it if he does. That's what I'm saying. You know,
he is undoubtedly going to be in
it
there.
Was cool. I mean, like I think different from years past, it seemed like some players actually went, like JT and Bubba and Spieth and my guy Mackenzie Hughes.
It actually helps having it at the players, right? Like if you want to do it Wednesday,
it was in the Global Home too. It wasn't at the Hall of Fame. It was in the Global Home. Didn't see Jack or Annika there. They're the they're both on the selection committee, I guess.
It's gonna make a lot of jokes with that.
Yeah.
But you guys want to talk about Monahan's presser?
Well, I would just to button that up, go watch Tiger's speech if you haven't already. I know it's kind of, pretty like, again, weirdly low key for the greatest player of all time going into the Hall of Fame. It was, it was not quite a, I consider myself the luckiest man in the world type moment. It was very, very, very muted. It seemed, the reaction, but the intro from Sam was really cool. It's cool to see her as like a, not grown up, but like a, you always picture her as like a 3-year-old kid. So it's fun to see her growing into like a person.
She made some jokes about.
Well, and then that was the biggest thing is like I don't want to dwell too much on this. However, she alluded to the fact that, quote, my dad went to Comic-Con dressed as Batman, which is one of the most unbelievable fucking things I've ever heard in my life. And I don't know if you guys felt similarly. I don't know if that derailed you for much of the day today, like it did for me. But that was wild. Do you think that's true?
No.
Really?
How? Well,
I learned.
You told her that.
It goes back to our podcast.
Yeah.
You asked him. You said, "Hey, like, what's something people don't know about you?" And he replies,
That's
No.
That's not what
I asked him.
That would have been a great answer.
What's an underrated skill you have? He's like,
trying to get it like chipping. Like
Yeah.
people don't realize like I'm a really
so
good chipper.
Yeah, I'm really into comics. And he said that he had a paper route as a kid, and like, would you save up money to go buy comics? And like somebody sent like a DM that was like, hey, like I knew Tiger as a kid, like did not have a paper route. Never happened. Like find any book, article, anything that mentions him having a paper route doesn't exist.
Maybe he was delivering the Financial Times in a different neighborhood.
It's possible. It's possible.
Can I get something off my chest?
Please.
Sorry. These tweets and shit that I see on my timeline that are like, it started with Charlie Woods is going to be, a 40-time tour winner. And I just can't take it. I can't take people, doing these tweets about Tiger's kids. I know it bugs me. I hate it. Sorry.
Randy hates Charlie Woods. You heard it here first. Doesn't have what it takes.
Charlie's got that glow. He looks like a mega church pastor or something. He's got the 3-piece suit on. The hair is so good.
Randy, I'm with you, but I hope you would open your heart to enjoying how cool things like the father-son were. I get that. I don't want you focused too much on the pessimism. You know what I mean? Allow yourself some upside.
Come on,
and you got to ignore the content industrial complex that we're living in here.
It's hard. It's hard to separate.
Of course, the father-son was really cool. Did you watch any of it?
Yeah. Watched a ton
I
of it.
put the father-son on par with like the drive, chip, and putt.
I mean, ordinarily,
it's
but
tough.
when like the greatest player in the world has just driven his car off a cliff, and you don't know if he's going to have 2 legs anymore, and then he comes back and he's like striping drives with his kid who's like mimicking every one of his movements. Pretty cool.
I'm not sure.
Out on a limb. I'm going to join you out on that limb.
Pretty cool.
I'm not sure enough was made of Tiger and Charlie walking in. Tiger had the backwards. He's walking into the global home across the moat.
Exactly. All the archers are standing down, saluting.
They put the gate down for. They put the drawbridge down for the cat. He had the backwards hat on, sunglasses. He didn't have a sleeve on his leg.
Hark!
Hear this.
I get a little bummed out when kids of generational goats like try to follow in their parents' footsteps.
Of course,
and I understand why they do it, but it's just, man, that's going to be a tough, in all likelihood, disappointing road to walk. And I guess it's hard for me not to just be a little bummed out by it all.
Which I would say, like, not a great comment to make in the speeches last night. Fincham, who like I typically ride pretty hard for. I mean, like working at the tour, I was telling you, like he'd get up at the like all employee meetings, and I mean, he's just like legitimately really, really funny, and would just be a great speaker and everything. When he got up there yesterday and was doing the like, yeah, we did all this research about whether Tiger was the most famous person on earth, and it came back that he was, and the only person I'm seeing that could possibly follow in his footsteps is Charlie. And saying that to like a whatever he is, 12-year-old kid, 13-year-old kid is like, don't say that shit. What are you doing, man?
Yeah, it's just
that was not good.
And like, I don't
take it away.
I don't really mind. Like, I'm fine shitting all over Fincham because it's not like he's an octogenarian. He's like 74, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, like he's not, But I thought it was interesting. Tiger had a lot of anecdotes about how he got started playing golf, right? And he wasn't old enough to go play at the course, like at the Navy course, so he would go play his other course. They gave him range balls or whatever, and then his mom would give him 3 quarters, and 2 of them were for a hot dog, and the other one was for him to use the payphone to call her when he wanted to come home. And then he started coming back with more quarters, and then Earl was like, like, hey, like, where are you getting these quarters?
Don't putt for
and
quarters.
He's like, I'm putting for quarters. He's like, don't putt for quarters. So then he comes back a couple weeks
Putt
later
for dollars
with a bunch of cash. And he's putting for dollars. And then a couple weeks later, he comes back with even more cash. And he's like, I told you, like, stop putting for dollars. And he's like, I wasn't. I was playing a skins game. So
there's a bunch of good anecdotes.
Yeah.
It was, and I mean, again, it's been 30 years now that he's been in like the limelight and has been that most famous person on earth, and just seeing him get choked up, like talking about his mom. I mean, it's just, it was cool that it meant so much to him. I wish it like meant more to other people, I guess is what
I think it meant a lot to I think it meant a lot to people. I mean, I saw more about the Hall of Fame this year than I ever have.
Sure. But that's all. Like, did you see more about the father-son, or did you see more about the Hall of Fame?
So that's the peak, though. It's only down from here. Like, if that's the level of excitement for Tiger, then what can we really get excited?
Well, sure, but that's I go back to, like, people don't really care about the Hall of Fame. Like the bars, debating it in the bar is fun, but
yeah.
Monahan on Tuesday spoke to media. I don't know if we need to necessarily read through quotes or go anything like that, but any impressions?
I do have to say, from the Hall of Fame thing last night, Monahan needs to pull his tie up. Straight up. Just pull your tie up.
Okay.
Yeah. You look down the barrel. Let him know.
From a sartorial perspective, his tie was down, his jacket was loose. I know, Randy, you caught some flack.
TC's been reading Shackelford's newsletter, by the way.
I love it.
That's like the 8th take for the newsletter.
The quadrilateral. It gets me fired up every morning. But I think, and I've been in a sartorial mood because we had to wear tuxes for Neil's wedding and I had to go buy one or whatever. But I thought Jay did look sharp for his presser, though. I'm
glad to hear that. What are you guys' impressions? He comes out firing, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he comes out with, the PGA Tour is moving on. We have too much momentum and too much to accomplish to be consistently distracted by rumors of other golf leagues and their attempts to disrupt our players, our partners, and most importantly, our fans from enjoying the tour and the game we all love so much. Thoughts on the overall tone?
We're focused on legacy, not leverage. You got
that. He gets to that one. Yeah, that was a rehearsed line in the Global Home, I'm sure. But I found it very funny that the very first question was, yeah, Jay, that's fine. Greg Norman and Live Golf Investments, blah, 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 said that, he basically, the first question was challenging him on, like, you're very confident in your legal stance here. Like, why is that? And I feel like when I was watching it, I'm like watching a guy that, like, has been very clearly told by lawyers, like, don't say something stupid here, yet have to give some kind of answer to it.
You got to project strength without being specific.
Yes.
Right?
And, it kind of refers to the rules and regulations written by the players for the players. They've been in existence for 50 years.
For us, by us.
Which I think is like, hey, yeah, like, we know what the rules are. People are saying the rules are anti-competitive. Like, that's kind of the deal here. But I felt like a lot of he was able to evade a lot of questions pretty successfully. I thought that were pretty difficult to answer.
So I know I've said this before. I'm not throwing shots. I hate throwing shots because we are not in press conferences, and I'm well aware that we're not showing up and asking these questions. But it's amazing the difference between asking a 400-word, 16-part question and just like putting it point blank to somebody. Like the difference of
what the person has to answer, right?
Yes, and I think it was I forget if it was Doug Ferguson or Mark Cannizzaro or one of those people who finally just asked, like, if Phil was able to, like, if Phil wanted to play this week, would he have been welcome or not? That's where you like start to see
the wheels
turn, and like, oh my gosh, I can't just like blatantly lie. And so would encourage more just like direct questions.
Well, and that was where he kind of got not caught, but it was, he referred to it as we don't discuss disciplinary matters.
Right.
And
so I have his Phil quotes. He's asked, Jay, have you spoken to Phil since all this came out? And when he does return, does he need to do something first? Does he need to speak to you, or can he just show up at a tournament and tee it up again? He says, I've not. That's, again, multiple questions. And there's basically asking, is he suspended? But, have you talked, does he need to speak to you? And he says, I have not talked to Phil since he made his comments and since he said that he was stepping away. Like I said, I think the ball's in his court. I would welcome a phone call from him, but it's hard for me to talk about different scenarios that could play out. Another question says, you said earlier you wanted to have a conversation with Phil.
Yeah, I remember regretting my feet on Phil's couch
when he was ready to return. Is there any chance that part of that conversation will be you asking him to stay away longer? Listen, I'm not going to comment. We don't comment on disciplinary matters, and Phil has asked for some time to step away, and I'm not going to comment any further on that. But that's not. Questions are going to come. Regarding Phil, it doesn't seem very clear. It sounds like the way you're speaking as to is if he is suspended because you're saying the ball is in his court and he needs to reach out to you before he moves on. Obviously, I know he said in his statement that he was taking some time away. Had he wanted to play here this week, would he have been welcome? Answer: he stepped away on his own accord.
After like a 30-second pause.
It was a big pause. He stepped away on his own accord, and he's asked for time. He's been given that time. We don't comment on disciplinary matters, potential matters, or actual matters, but every player is accountable for their actions out here. That was it took 4 or 5 times asking it, but it seems like
it boiled it down.
Randy, direct question: is Phil suspended?
I think so. What kind of Mickey Mouse league won't comment on disciplinary matters? That's so BS.
I was thinking about that more today, and I know that comes from kind of the Fincham school of like,
Everybody's
if our guys look like they're constantly getting suspended or they're constantly smoking weed or they're constantly doing this, like, I don't know, we might risk some of these financial relationships we have. That just doesn't seem like the case anymore, which is why
now it seems like they're creating undue risk with regards to gambling and like even as far as like rules infractions, right?
Well, it's cool to see guys like Rory or Cantlay or whomever, has kind of been in the press room this week talking about more transparency and more, hey, we're totally open to doing more of this stuff because I don't know, it's pretty easy if you're Rory or Cantlay or one of those guys to be like, yeah, I really don't think I'm going to get suspended. Like, I'm totally cool if you want to start disclosing these because like I really don't see myself in that boat.
I think also one of the things that stuck out to me about Monahan's presser was when he said, hey, like I operate as if somebody's taking my lunch every day. And, like I kind of like, hey, like I know people are coming at me.
Kind of from the everyone's a threat school.
Yeah, that's right.
Like punching out of the corner kind of thing. And at some point, like you got to, I feel like they're at a point, or it seemed like a victory lap a little bit, right? Where I think
is fair and somewhat warranted.
Seems like he's parried the Saudis away, but I think this is the first wave of a few waves until there is more substantive change. But also like you run a membership organization with a couple hundred stakeholders, right? And it's tough to operate where you think everybody's taking your lunch every day, but also like you have to be accountable to these guys and listen to them with an open mind and everything like that. But then when you're treating everybody like a threat, you don't even among your own ranks, you don't know who's coming at you, who's a threat, who's not. Like, how are you supposed to represent these guys and have that mentality?
I think it comes down to, for him, his job is to unify. Like, guys can come to him with like, yeah, do this, or I'm going to another league, and be like, okay, I need to act in the best interest of this whole thing as a group, right? Like it's not in my best interest, your best, or the tour's best interest, this player's interest if you go and make this way harder on everyone else. So it's viewed, it seems defensive a bit, but it's also like his job is to keep all of these top players together. Like that is number one goal. Like that's what makes the TV deal worth what it is. And it can fall apart. It has qualifiers in it from what we have gathered of, if this tour breaks up and goes very fractured way, that there are opt-outs of some kind involved in it. And like he's doing
strength of field and
doing everything he can in his power to protect that is, I think, where he's coming from on that. I think he's like kind of came off of like, yeah, someone trying to eat my lunch. Kind of felt a little.
It was hockey, Jay.
A little personal, like a little bit like I'm this. I don't think he meant it this way, but it came off as like I'm the one fighting this fight here. When in reality, he did such a good job of making sure he's talking about like what his job is, which is representing his players.
Yeah, no, and I don't envy the guy, and I think overall like it's the last 2 years for a lot of leaders, but especially for him, I've been hellish, right? Like, I mean, he's had all manner of attacks on his organization, his character, all sorts of stuff, but also like, God, the guy's just got to be exhausted.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I'm not making light of this situation at all, but like everything we've just said for the last 5 minutes and then getting a question about like Russia and Ukraine, you got to be like, dude, come on. Come on, man. Like I can't. There's not a lot I could do about that right now.
I do think at some point, like the tour, just cut bait with China, right? Like otherwise, it's going to keep coming up, and there's going to be the whataboutism stuff, and it's like if you haven't had that event in 2 years, and it seems like all right,
it's like everything's been okay.
Yeah, like if you haven't missed anything from it, right? And then you got me like sitting here on Twitter or YouTube or wherever we're broadcasting this, like shitting on like pulling up your tie. Like, yeah, that was a cheap shot. But also like you're the leader of a multi-billion-dollar organization. Like you need to pull up your tie.
He gets paid a lot.
Yeah,
of course.
That was
a little bit of me is like, yeah, well, that's what the money's for too.
Dude, I was walking with Cantlay 2 years ago at the Players, just like we're just shooting the shit, and I was like, man, it was right when the PGL threat was coming about. I was like, man, Jay's job, with the COVID was starting to come about, like decision making. I was like, man, Jay's job got a lot harder. He goes, that's what the money's for.
And even the residual money, like Fincham's still been making $800,000-$900,000 a year for the last
817.
817, 501c6, right? For the last, however many years, 4 or 5 years since he stepped down. And he's, you've got a nice golden parachute there as well. But yeah, and like I don't know. I'll just say, like, I don't think these problems aren't going away. They're actually gonna get more and more concerted, and there's gonna be a little bit more clarity. Like when the Saudis push the issue with this, there's going to be a battle. There's going to be a legal battle, and then that's going to be taken care of. And there's going to be clarity one way or another. And then the PGL or whoever it is after them will operate as if like with that clarity and go all in on one direction or another. And because I think that's the big hammer that the tour wields is we can ban you. Right. And as soon as, if that ever evaporates, like that's all their leverage.
It's kind of open season.
Watch this space. There's a lot more to the people out there that think it's dead, please continue that. We're going to continue to talk about it because there's going to be some news coming somewhere down the pike. I promise you that this is not over. So
surely you jest, Solly.
Anything else, Cody? We get most of the questions in from people. I know they've been firing them. We have had a lot to talk about.
Deej, you had some things on the Cantlay presser.
I just think it's a little bit of what you guys were talking about, and a little bit of what I was saying about the transparency stuff. I think it's very interesting to watch Cantlay. It seems like another watch this space moment. He seems like a guy who is clearly, I won't say like his tone has shifted, but like I know everybody kind of fell in love with like press conference Cantlay last year, and he just kind of seems like he's interested in a lot of the business stuff going on,
the machinations of the tour.
Yeah, he seems very smart. First of all, I'm sure he's got a lot of good people in his ear. He feels right in that camp of like, this is all pure, like, projection or conjecture for my part, but he's kind of right in that camp of like, he's probably not really in the pip, but he's clearly like one of the best players. And I don't know. It was interesting reading between the lines a little bit on like his presser and how, he doesn't necessarily feel like the players have ownership of the tour. He doesn't really feel like a stakeholder, shareholder, any of those things. And I don't know. I'm just interested to see, kind of follow him as he gets maybe asked a little bit more about this stuff.
I'm just going to go out on a limb with this one. I think he's handsomely paid for his golf performance. Make $15 million,
of course, but he still had to like, it's kind of a crapshoot of whether you win the FedEx Cup or not. And
right.
He did.
I'm saying like if he's upset about the PIP, like I'm very fine. Like what is the non-Tiger Phil? The most somebody got was $3.5 million.
No, of course.
I'm not debating you. Yeah. I'm just saying for him, like you're fine. Like you're not necessarily putting butts in the seats necessarily, and you're handsomely rewarded for your golf skill.
Sure.
He's number 2 on my power list of guys I go have a couple beers with. Just
would love to pick his brain. Yes, exactly right.
I think it goes Rory, then Cantlay.
Marcus by Goldman Sachs. You're just trying to get in there. Talk to David Solomon and the boys.
Exactly. Could be prime buying season here in a little bit.
Cody, anything we're missing before we sign off?
I think we're doing pretty good.
This was a great one. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in on YouTube or on Twitter, wherever you're watching this, or if you're listening on the podcast feed, either tonight or the next day. We'll be back doing these every night after each day finishes, even including if that's Monday, we will be here to cover one of the best events in golf. This has been, I'm excited. We have a lot of good golf in front of us.
What's y'all's plan tomorrow? You guys going to go over?
I'm going to check the weather forecast. I had a blast going out with you this morning, Cody. It's great to get out and just walk around. Would love to run that back.
So. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do.
I'm taking Freddie tomorrow.
Yeah? Yeah. Would love to get out, maybe watch Maxwell wield the silver hammer out there, and we'll, see what he's got, and just kind of linger around. It's great.
I'm supposed to go with my neighbors tomorrow. I hope the weather cooperates. I'm looking forward to it. So, all right. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you back here tomorrow after TC says.
Bring that smoker tomorrow.
Bring the smoker tomorrow. I will bring the smoker tomorrow. We'll smoke it live on the show tomorrow. You got my word right here. Good night, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers.